morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 12th day of August 2024. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I hope you had a wonderful, relaxing, enjoyable weekend and that you're prepared for a productive week. A productive week. So welcome, welcome, one and all. And as we say, as you come on, share the live, let them know that we're on. At the same time, give us the thumbs up to show your appreciation. And we are here to bring you valuable, credible information. So welcome, welcome, one and all. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio and he's raring to go. So you do your part. Just give us a thumbs up, share the live. We have hundreds of people already on. People were in large numbers in the schoolyard. I wish to compliment you because for a Monday, I think you had the largest schoolyard attendance for a Monday. And therefore, compliments to you. The program was scheduled just after 7, and immediately people were in the schoolyard. And a few students even reached out to me before. They said, look, we haven't seen this program scheduled as yet. And then I told them, look, I'm in the process of doing that now. And it was scheduled just after, around 7:18. And immediately it was scheduled. The students ran into the schoolyard and they start to play their games and they are waiting for the school door to open. And since the school door has been opened a few minutes ago, the people pouring in. And we are encouraged by your turnout and we will continue. We are motivated to making sure that we do the research, we bring you the credible, the valuable information that you will not get anyplace else. This morning a student commented on the social media that she, a female, she's so happy to be here, that she has learned so much over the past weeks and months of this program. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to bring you the information, and we are going to teach you some of these things. Police ranks, senior, junior, at all levels have said how educational they have found this program. I remember speaking to a sergeant once, and he said some of the things that we are talking that he should know as a sergeant. He was never taught this. So yes, continue to listen. We know that some people are afraid to listen to the program because if you're caught listening to the program, police rounds in particular, then you are penalized, you are punished, right? One man told me that a man living overseas, went to the commissioner's office, the extended squatter, and they exchanged pleasantries. And then he actually said to him, I hear you just watch Paul Slow and Conway in a very aggressive manner. And so I man tell you yes. And I think I can't remember what took place thereafter. But that is what is going on. People want to have information. The police ranks want to be taught. That is not being done officially and formally in the organization. And therefore, we feel that as experienced former police officers, we have a responsibility to give back. And this is the way we are giving back. Some people are going to say it's a little unorthodox. I agree that it's unorthodox. But, it has to be this way because they are not going to invite us to make presentations to the organizations. And the organization is suffering because of that. We're going to talk about it. So share the live and let people know that we are on. We are going to do the normal thing, roll call. After the roll call, we're going to make the announcements. The roll call, I'm going to try to run it through as quickly as possible because it's going to be a little lengthy this morning. And don't let me debate that. We agree that is the format. We're going to do the roll call, and then we're going to move into the program. You're not going to be deprived of anything. You're not going to be deprived. The fact that we take a few minutes to do the roll call is not going to deprive you of the valuable information that you ought to get. So here we go. In terms of the roll call. As I said, we scheduled at 7:18. And immediately we scheduled, there were like about 5 students led by Gavin. Jakey, welcome, Orly. Jakey was here. They all at the same time, 7:18. Wayne from the UK, followed by Marcus, followed by Bart, followed by Carlton. And they were all in at 7:18 this morning as soon as the program scheduled. They were on the marks, set, and so they had gone, bam, they were in the schoolyard. Then we had Kenneth from Maryland. He came at 7:19, followed by Joan. I think Joan is from New Amsterdam. Raul said he's from Bushwick, New York this morning. Vibert. Then we had Peter Debbie from Providence and the East Bank of Demerara. Aubrey Pantless, he is from Canada, it's a squad mate of CC. Then we have Fredo, Sydney. Trotty is here. He came in at 7:21, followed by Gibbo, followed by Patricia Gravesandi from New Jersey, followed by Joseph. Then it was Kay. Kay has a birthday today. Happy birthday. Recently, sorry, not today. Happy birthday. I had it to announce. Marcia, happy belated, I should say. Marcia. Then Anthony from Peters Hall on the East Bank of Demerara. John Cummings is here. Pauline. Rhonda, and this is Rhonda Chance. We have other Rhondas. Desiree and Liverpool. Other Desirees are here as well. And we have Evelyn, Emerson, Ronald, Vibert, and many Vibert. This is Vibert John. Tia, Ben, 1, 2, 3. Buxton, BX, Charles Goodman, my squad mate, 9407 is here. Sharon from the UK. Francis Keith from Melinda Mashana. Nigel, Princess. Then we have Winston. Winston is from California. Pamela from West Dam. Mary from Brooklyn. Lynette from the UK. Courtney from New Jersey. Cecile is here. Clarence. Uncle Paul. Earl. Bonita. West Coast, Bobby, sorry. Tessa from Florida. Brian from Brooklyn. Ulrich from Crane. West Coast, Demerara. Hazel. Barlett, the man from the hills in Linden. Tom Cat. Tom Cat said, look what Tom Cat is saying here. Anybody who guess who Tom Cat is, get $1,000. Get $1,000. I think I know who Tom Cat is. I think, but I'm not going to bust the bag yet. I think I know who Tom Cat is. The only few Tom Cats they got a rock, And I know this one. Wayne is here. Danny, Ivan, Felicia, Rahim, Randolph, Floyd, Mary, Monica. Then we are after Monica's Patricia. And Patricia's from Philadelphia. She came in at 7:42. Carlisle, Magnell, Umi, and then Gary, another Barrow. Denise, the secretary, is in the house. Yazzie, Howard, Annette, Aileen, female umpire Aileen. Then it is Sean, and this is Sean Maxwell. Carl, Akko, Ezra, Charlene, welcome Charlene. Lucius Ian from Maryland is in the house. Tallulah, then it's Morton, Melissa, Rhonda. This time is Rhonda Lane. Then I'm still in the house, she says. Barbara, Connolly, George, and this is George Mars. Original Black Man is here. Annette, Carville, Carol, Clive Nestor from the UK. Moses, another Barlow. Barlow. Queenie, welcome. Patricia, Philip, Colin. Then it is Randolph, Kerry from Maryland. Carl from Arizona is here. Russ Ricardo is in the house. Claremont, Wenda, Colin 11872 from Queens, New York. Doreen, W349 from Canada. Then it is Malcolm, Ian, and this is Mentor. Flossian, I can't recall seeing Flossian or Flossian, whatever it is pronounced live. Welcome. Then it is Marva, Rastaman, Walterine, Orin, and Orin is from the UK. Oswald, Sandra, Jacko from Georgia, but he said right now he's in Curveton. Hope you enjoy it. You enjoy the breeze. Maureen, Marcus, Corinne, Smith is here, 7464, Vibert Smith. And by what we got to talk about some detective work in a short while, man. I'm sure you are going to enjoy that and be able to reflect. Perhaps you can offer some assistance to these people who they call detectives these 6-week detectives. Dennis is here from Florida. Henrik, George, this is the next George Calder from BV. Sean from Schenectady, New York. Trevor. Then it is David. Terrence is from Canada, 9795. Anthony, this is Anthony Jarvis. Sean is another Sean Pemberton. Carl, another Carl. Evelina. Then we have Vibert from the East Bank of Demerara. Royston, Clifton Smith, 9339. Smithy, Blues. Good to see you on the live, my brother. Good to see you. Mr. G. Then it was Philip. This is Phil, sorry. El Ben, Nigel, Sheena, Brenda, Courtney, Lorraine, Thomas, Jean, Winston from the UK, Boo, Michael, then, and this is, just Michael. Ridley, welcome, my brother. Terrence from California. Kevin is here. Then it is Junior, Debbie, John. These are all regulars. Monica, Chilo is in the house. Violet. Then it is Junior, Sandrine. Then it is after Sandrine is King Teen or King. What King Teen? Yeah, good to see you. This is a new name. Shamlin. Then it's Woody, Orville, Carmel. Then it is Ainsworth, followed by Tessa, another Tessa Richards, Court, Melville, John, Dwayne. Then after Dwayne, it's a Siobhan, Samuel. Willows, we got to see you on the live. Debbie, Colin, Desiree, and this is Desiree, Emmanuel, Audrey, Colin, Samuel Mingo, another Samuel, Leroy, Safin, Albera, 121111, Karen, Norbert, Vernon, Delan, and the last person in the schoolyard was Neville. And when we went live, we had Edward, always Air Force. Edward Charles Isaac Simone came in next. Then Carlton Popo is here, Brandy, Elvis, and the list goes on and on and on. Angeli is here. And let me give you the announcements. As I say, you see the number of students in the schoolyard. So I'm going to make some announcements, and then we're going to move on. Now, the first announcement I want to make is we did tell you about the death of James Brown, retired detective inspector. His funeral service was held in Brooklyn last Monday. And then today, as we speak now, the service has been held at St. Andrew's Kirk in Georgetown. That is opposite Parliament Building, I think. And they say that started at 11. And after that, he will be buried at Oakline on the quarantine. So he travels all the way to Oakline on the quarantine for burial today. Again, condolences to the relatives, friends of James Brown. In terms of birthday greetings, I think retired Sergeant Lawrence Pyle celebrated the birthday recently. Andre Blackman, I think Blackie number was 0451, traffic man, motor outrider. He celebrated one recently too. Retired woman Sergeant Donetta Stevens, had a birthday. Donetta Stevens Farley, that's her surname now. She had a birthday recently. And as I said earlier, Kate Padmore, who is on the live, I think she was in the schoolyard early this morning. She celebrated her birthday recently. Now, the next thing I want to announce before I bring in Mr. Conway is to remind the Code 74 members that we have activity at the end of this month in Brooklyn. They get together. In March this year, we celebrated our 50th anniversary. We did not get together. Those in Guyana got together and had a wonderful time. And it is planned that on that Labor Day weekend in Brooklyn, we in the States, all those who are in the States, perhaps even Canada, are going to get together and have a wonderful time. I'll give you more details later about venue and timing and all of that. Course 74 members, and we're going to have that grand time. And let me shout out to the man, shout out to Alpha Charlie, Bartica Man Charlie. Alpha Charlie, Bartica Man Charlie. And then we now bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway. CC, welcome.
Morning. Always say happy to be in the land of the living. I had a good weekend with my wife, my children, and my grandchildren all together. It was real quality time. I just came from the funeral service for James Brown. I had to leave before it finished and rush out so that I can be on this program here. And congratulations to those persons who celebrated their birthday. And let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it. And I omitted to tell you that the usual thing. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. And let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. It's a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we must always give praise and thanks. Now, a few things. We know that the Olympics, the Paris Olympics just ended. Last night was the closing ceremony. Fantastic closing ceremony. And people over the weekend are writing to say, Guyana, bring last, dead last, like Mrs. Macmillan asked. Bring last, dead last, right? We have had one bronze medal in an Olympic back in 1980. Paris, the boxer, won a gold medal. Since then, we haven't even come close to winning anything at the Olympic all these years. All these years. Something is wrong. Congratulations to the young lady from St. Lucia. She won gold in the 100 and silver in the 200. St. Lucia, first time ever they won a medal, gold and silver in the same Olympic. We struggling, and people have said that what we got to do is in the Olympic Association, we have to petition the Olympic Association to bring out a sport called corruption. Either bring out a sport called corruption, we can do well. First, second, and third, like the donkey. Sparrow sang the song Animal Beauty Competition. When monkey give donkey first, second, and third, that is what is going to happen once they get a competition called corruption. Guyana going to get first, second, and third. And I noted too, in this Olympic just concluded, they got a new sport they call break dancing. Break dancing, it was a beauty. I think the guy from Japan won the gold in the break dancing competition. Well, we can go in 2028. We can go because we had the president with his Michael Jackass moves. And I'm sure if he trained from now to then, we might be able to medal. The man get some Michael Jackass, not Jackson, Michael Jackass move with the jacket and all this other thing. And the man wine into Tassa drum and all these other things. So maybe we get hopes of medaling at the next Olympic. Corruption and Michael Jackass moves might see us getting somewhere there. Well, it's after all these years. And then when you look at the Guyana Olympic Association, I think Giovanni Haslim was ousted recently. Been there for about 27 years. I mean, Giovanni is my friend, yeah? Giovanni, I'm not the person against Giovanni. But if you're in an organization for all that time and there is no noticeable progress, then you got to move on, man. You got to move on. Let somebody else take up the mantle and try with it. So we hope now that there is a new association. There's a new president of the Olympic Association of Guyana. We're going to get some movement. But let me say this, because people have been commenting. People said that if they had given a prize for the best dressed team, maybe Guyana would have been somewhere in the take-up. But let me see. I have always been disappointed when you have Commonwealth Games and you have Olympics. Every time you go, it's a different uniform. Why? You should have a standard uniform for people representing Guyana in sports. Like the idea, when you see a Trinidadian uniform, you know. You see the Jamaican uniform, you know. You see the American uniform, you know. And it is time that we have something like that. I have been to 4 Commonwealth Games, 4, with a shooting team. And every time you go, it's a new uniform. I have them there as souvenirs. Because you can't wear them back any place. Every time is a new uniform they make. So this is one of the things perhaps they would want to address. Yes, Gary, Michael Jackass moves. You know, you saw the thing there, the tape. Maybe one of these days I can play back that tape. It is a little painful to watch, but I might be able to play that tape. So corruption as a sport, they haven't introduced it yet in the Olympics, but it is very, very popular in Guyana. Very popular sport, corruption at all levels. And we're going to talk about that a little more, because I saw a particular letter that I would want to, in the newspaper, that I want to respond to. So yes. And then, and then of course, Aileen and others, we have cricket in the air. The teams are traveling to Guyana, I think, today, because yesterday was the last day of the first test in Trinidad. Despite all the weather interventions and interruptions, I think Guyana squeezed out a draw. The trend of the game surely suggests that had it not been for the curtailment of the playing time, that you'll get another licks in your tail. So they come to Providence now for the second test match. And let me say this, the crystal ball, let me tell you all this. That Providence wicket with Maharaj is trouble for the West Indies team. Let me repeat it again. That Providence wicket with Maharaj bowling that spin is trouble for the West Indies team. And when you see a West Indies team, I mean, I don't follow it as closely as I used to. But when you look at the makeup of the first team, and the West Indies had to resurrect the Warrican. You know, we did in a bad way. West Indies had to resurrect left arm orthodox spinner Jamel Warrican in that team. And he got wickets, he got 4 wickets, so you can't deny him that. But it tells you where our cricket in the West Indies is going. It tells us where it is going. Now, let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to move in straight into the top 6 subject I announced. Cece, I'm sure you want to say something on the Olympics and the cricket. Go ahead.
Sure, you can't left me out. I agree with you with the cricket. And we're thinking along the same line. I was telling my wife, who's a sports cricket who's enthusiast, that hey, watch out for the spinners at the Providence Day, watch out for the spinners. Now back to the Olympics, I agree that when next day they introduce corruption, we're gonna dominate. We're gonna take the old platform, the gold, silver, and bronze. I agree with you. But we miss a beat, We didn't select the right type of people. I mean, we sent a person playing tennis. We had 2 swimmers. We had a sprinter and we had a 400 meters. Man, real. But we miss out on 2 persons. Perhaps if they had selected 2 persons from the Guyana police force, we would have gotten gold medals. But maybe they didn't trust the Guyana police force, Because remember, Paul, we get a triple jumper. That triple jumper would have won something, would have won the goal. And even the triple jumper didn't win the goal, we could have rotated him, like how they rotating members of the Guyana police force. We could have rotated him because I understand he's a shooter. I understand he's a marksman. And he hitting the target with deadly accuracy. And also we had a marathon runner that ran all the way to Brooklyn, New York to unlawfully serve some summons on Bork. And that marathon runner, when he finished, he sprinted back to Guyana in record time, in record time with breakneck speed. So if we had selected the triple jumper and we had selected that marathon runner, definitely we could have got no gold medal. But then at the Los Angeles, we're going to get it with corruption.
Yeah, well, they didn't introduce it yet. Now let me respond to Desiree saying that we wrong, that Guyana got the first Olympic medal from James Van Gilks. No. Not Olympic medal. James Van Gilks was Commonwealth Games. He and June Griffith and Commonwealth Games, my dear. Because even Commonwealth Games, we won a gold medal. We have several gold medals at Commonwealth Games. The last one I recall is this guy winning the triple jump when we were in Gold Coast, Australia. Then you had Alian Pompey, won when we were in Manchester. So we have won gold medals in the Commonwealth Games. But the only medal that we have won in the Olympics in 1980, Michael Paris, his name, I can't remember Paris, he won a bronze in boxing. So you are wrong, my dear. Check back your record. And this is the record. This is not in any dispute or any doubt. Guyana has never won a gold medal in any Olympic. The only medal Guyana has ever won in an Olympic is in 1980. Paris, the boxer, won a bronze medal. James Well Jiggs, Alian Pompey, I think June Griffith, I think was her name. Those people did well at Commonwealth Games. The Commonwealth Games where Alian Pompey won the gold, I think it's in the 400 meter. That was in Manchester, England. I was there. The Commonwealth Games that, I can't remember his name now, won the triple jump in Gold Coast, Australia. I was there managing the shooting team. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what I am talking about. Now let me move on. Now, in the notification yesterday for this program, I asked the question, what has happened to the investigation into the money laundering and corruption from where Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus, Assistant Commissioner, is the main subject. That is a month ago. 1 month ago, we learned that they said that he had asked to go on leave. And we asked the question, how many days leave? And we don't know if you asked, and they said, well, the commissioner granted. Commissioner don't grant leave. We said that already to senior officers, right? Public Service Ministry. We haven't heard anything further. What we hear is that they searched his office and found, and that's the allegation. They have not come out to refute that. They searched his office and found in excess of $100 million in cash in his office. It was rumored that they went to his residence because he lived at police headquarters, the senior officers' quarters, even though they claimed that he has several properties all over, said he lived at the police officers' quarters. It is said that when he went there, he could not be found. They did not find him there. It is further alleged that he attempted with his family to leave Guyana via the airport, Sedijagan International Airport, and he was prevented from doing so. And up to now, we don't know, the public don't know if Brutus was, the allegation of money laundering and financial impropriety was put to Brutus. Because we said at a one stage, in the early stage in an investigation of this nature, or any investigation, you have to put the allegation to the person and read them their right to refuse to make any written or oral statement unless they wish to do so, right? But we didn't hear anything further. 1 month has passed since they say that he requested to go and leave. 1 month passed, and you can't hear anything further, right? And then in this investigation too, as I said, have they questioned the finance officer yet? We don't expect that in the course of the investigation, you're going to get ball-by-ball commentary. Well, today we did that, today we did that, today we did that. But the public expects an update that the investigation is progressing and perhaps what has happened. Have you questioned the police finance officer? Because I made it clear that there's no way Brutus could have been involved in all this alleged corruption, money laundering, and things to do with procurement, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the police finance officer and them, they ought to have been complicit in this thing. Is the police finance officer questioned? Did they question? What about the extended squatter? The man who sits in the commissioner of police chair, who went public to deny. Let me play a piece. Y'all forgive me, but I will keep reminding y'all about this thing. I'll play just a short piece. Look.
Guyana's acting commissioner of police Clifton Hicken today laid to rest claims that his deputy commissioner of police acting Calvin Brutus is on the investigation by the Special Organized Crime Unit. Hicken spoke with reporters on the sidelines of the first legal conference on criminal justice reform at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown.
It's about Mr. Brutus and the multi-million-dollar deposits. Is it true or not?
No, it's not true. And I made a release already through our system.
You didn't see that?
Yeah, I made a release. It's in the system. There was no investigation going on whatsoever.
And no deposits?
Nothing whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
No investigation, nothing whatsoever. And the same day, the same night, evidence was produced to show that he lied. And the fact that he lied over this matter showed that he's complicit. He was trying to cover up the matter. If you don't understand what complicity means, he knew that Brutus deposited $16.5 million in the police credit union. The money was returned to Brutus. It is alleged that the following day or shortly after the money was returned to Brutus, he called the ranks. He berated them. He had them transferred out of the police credit union, and in an effort to cover up this money laundering allegation or crime by Brutus. And he is there sitting still in the commissioner's chair. He was not asked to go on leave too. He did not request to go on leave because nobody is sent on leave by this president. You have to request. The case of May Thomas, the case of Dharam Lal, all of them requested to go on leave. So one if Brutus, they can request him to go on leave too. I say that he is complicit in this thing. Have they questioned him in relation to that very statement that I showed just now? Did they question him? Right? Then again, we showed evidence. Where is secretary, female secretary, Marcia Lewis, a female secretary in December of 2020, advanced 200,000 cash Guyana dollars to go and do investigation or assist with investigation in the interior corruption. And then his driver, I think it's Sergeant George, on Christmas Eve Day 2020, $200,000 cash advance to go to Port Kaituma to assist in investigation. A driver, Christmas Eve day. Have those, is that part of the investigation? And again, I call, what happened to the Auditor General? Isn't the Auditor General looking into all of these things? Because these two examples that we gave you of financial or cash advances, I understand from reliable sources that there are multiple such transactions. People applying, and all of these applications bear Brutus' signature. All of the applications. He's approving advances, large sums of advances, $200,000 in this case, for his driver, his secretary, to travel to interior locations to say they are conducting or assisting in investigation. This thing is corruption to the core. And again, I say, SOCU, the Special Organized Crime Unit of the Ghana Police Force, lacks the competency to investigate this matter. It lacks the competency. And that is why you're not going to hear anything proper. And then at the end of the day, I suspect, and this is the crystal ball again, they're going to put up a report, they're going to send it to the DPP, who is politically inclined, and that means just that she's politically inclined, is Bernard Santos, former senior counsel, former attorney general, say that she cannot separate her religion from her work. She's a Muslim, and she can't separate. I'm going to read it to y'all again later. Is that I saying that? So it's going to go there, and then they're going to say, well, not sufficient evidence or something like that to prosecute Brutus, right? So what is the update in that matter? And I would hope that when the media people go to this Tanti Mall show on Thursday, that they will ask that question, and they will continue to ask the question to get answers. What is the position with that matter? The police force is rocked with corruption. The two most senior persons are alleged to be involved in this big racket. And you want to tell me that the public, you're not going to treat the public with some measure of respect and tell them what's going on? You know the president don't talk. So one would have expected, in a well-run society, the president would have made some public pronouncement, public comment on that. And what is going on? But the president's silent. He's practicing the Michael Jackass moves for the next Olympics. That is what is going on. And let me tell you all this. Let me tell you this, students. Let me tell you all those who listen, because they all listen, you know. They listen. I ain't going to talk about it. Because it is affecting the morale of the members of the force. It is seriously affecting the morale of the member of the force to hear that your senior people, and people are saying the same people who came after you viciously when you are alleged to have done anything wrong, nothing close to the level of corruption and malfeasance that these people are involved in. A little allegation, and they come after you. People get transferred, people lose their work, people get reduction in rank, all sort of things. And them sit down there, waddling in corruption, waddling, and the government is silent. Perhaps they are silent because they don't want to raise the hornet's nest, because there too many of them are involved in the corruption. Many of them. We're going to talk about it. This program is about speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence, and we are going to continue to do so. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I'm sure you want to have his say on this too. CC, what is the position with this investigation into money laundering and financial impropriety going on? What is said that SOCU doing? Go on, let me hear you.
Well, I like you asking the same question. Remember, this quarter was in the 54th state, a state of denial. You know, nothing had happened, no report made, no money lodged, and then when things were in black and white. Well, I said, and I'm going to repeat, that Suku can investigate. They don't have the technical knowledge, and they don't have the professionalism to investigate. And we've been calling for overseas persons. And a couple of days, you know, I was reading I think it was the Stabrook News, and there is the headline: UK police to assist Bahamas corruption probe involving senior cop. And let me read a bit. Bahamian Police Commissioner Clayton Fernando says senior members of the United Kingdom National Crime Agency, NCA, will arrive this month to personally oversee aspects of investigation surrounding voice tapes that purported to capture quid pro quo arrangement involving a senior police officer, a lawyer, and two more men, Michael Fox Jr. and Dino Smith. Read it on. In cooperation with our international partners, we have forwarded files in relation to the case to the UK National Crime Agency to aid the investigation, he said in a statement yesterday, according to the Tribune newspaper. He said that Michael McKinnon, the head of the NCA's anti-corruption unit, and Andrew John Black, a senior investigator, will arrive in the Bahamas on August 14 and depart on 17. He said that Francisco Savicki, Correo, an NCA investigator based in Miami, will join the team, and they have other information. So here is Bahamas. Bahamas run to the British people, the British experts to do the investigation. Here we have a organization called Suku that has no track record, that has not yet gone to court and prosecute somebody, go to trial and prosecute somebody successfully for any offense that they charge you for, and they investigate the matter. And now Bahamas has gone to the British people for assistance. Why can't Guyana go for assistance? Why can't we follow the trend of Bahamas and other persons? But no, we're covering up and we're covering and we're covering up. And because maybe not only the squatter and the is a deputy involved, but other persons involved, including persons from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
And other ministries too. Ministry of Affairs, because with them large sums of money, you can't exclude the Ministry of Finance. You can't, you can't, a lot of people, they don't want to go there. And you ask the question why they don't want to go there. I believe, it is my view, they don't want to go there because they are involved in corruption too. And this thing is like a cancer. So therefore, and it's like an octopus, it gets tentacles all over. So therefore, if they were to go to some independent, credible agency, they're going to get skinned up, and they don't want that. They don't want to be skinned up. That is the truth. They don't want to be skinned up. And they're coming back to the same matter. You know, I should have asked a question too, because I made a note of it. Brutus, who was said by the Chief Justice on the 28th of June, 2021, she found him to be self-serving. They did nothing. They put the cat for watch milk. The man has installed his mother-in-law into a police family quarters in the Mounted Branch compound. Let me give them the information. We talked about it before. He put his mother-in-law to live in the police compound. She had a police. He put her to live there in the quarters that used to be occupied by retired Superintendent Keaton King. She there in the house. They moved. I wonder if they move. If they give him notice to move yet. I wonder if they ask her to remove. Again, it's a self-serving nature. You have police ranks who are clamoring, crying out for quarters. I understand that the quarter was identified for some rank. And then at the last moment, the rank was told, sorry, you can't get the quarter because Brutus put his mother-in-law to live in the quarters. And according to the people, according to what they say, the mother-in-law and Shaman, not husband, the people say the mother-in-law and Shaman live in the police quarters in the Mounted Branch compound. The quarters, the police quarters that was occupied by his retired Superintendent Keaton King. Then put shout yet, then that shout yet. That is the type of people you have. And remember, he is one of the president's men. Because on the 16th of September 2020, when the president talked to me, he mentioned the name. And on the 23rd of December, when the short list for promotion was created by the Police Service Commission, and it was leaked to the president and other people, right? When we had the conversation there, yeah, what about his people? And he mentioned Brutus as one of them. So it's people. It's people. So how they want no proper investigation? It's the president people. The president people. Big corruption. Big corruption. And you know what I say about birds? Birds of a feather. And let me clean them up to say flock together. Birds of a feather flock together. So y'all don't go and say, mistake me for saying me cuss, me not cuss. Birds of a feather flock together. That is what is going on. And I saying an organization like the police force, this current the current makeup lacks credibility. And one would have thought that a government that is concerned with security, national security, will do everything possible to make sure that an investigation of this nature is dealt with by a credible organization. We said before that the government touting their good relationship with the US, the UK, and Canada and all of those places, invite the US to send either FBI, the UK to send Scotland Yard, like the Bahamas people did, or ask Canada to send people from the mounted police, Canadian mounted police. But to ask SOCU for that investigation, I understand the investigation is being conducted by some junior officer. And junior officer in the context of the joint services and context of the police force, for you to understand, when we talk about a junior officer, we're talking about a rank of cadet officer, assistant superintendent, and deputy superintendent. They are classified as junior officers. From superintendent up, they are classified as senior officers. And when you go down below cadet officer, they are subordinate officers. Chief inspector, inspector, sergeant going down, subordinate officer. Then you have the lowest junior rank, constable. So if you're really interested in making sure that this is done, you put a junior officer for say he investigating assistant commissioner and even the man who's acting there as commissioner, junior officer. What he can do? He think about the future. And I understand the man who put the investigation has a short time. And all he concerned with is to make sure that he can catch a next promotion and that he can catch a pension and he go off. You think he can rock any boat? You think he's going to do any diligent investigation? No, he would not. He would not. We talk about people. We talk about a human being. He's thinking about himself first. He's thinking about himself, and perhaps that is why they put him to say that he should do the investigation. And I say, imagine he going into the commissioner office. How he can do this thing? He can send a message and a request to see the commissioner in connection with the matter investigation. Then he goes into the office, say, good morning, sir. He salutes, say, I am ASP or DSP, so. I'm here to investigate this matter. It is alleged that you do, so. You're not obliged to say anything. You think that can happen? You think that is going to happen? No, it is not going to happen. And that is why we continue to say that you need to have independent body to investigate. It's serious stuff. Serious stuff. You get to the stage where the bank is said that the bank froze the account of Butas and his wife. That is what is out there in the media. It is said that this scheme involves hundreds of millions of Guyana dollars. Guys, not only the money laundering part, is the whole procurement. Butas established a company in June last year. So did his wife. And they are supplying stuff to the police quartermaster stores. They are supplying stuff to the police messes, right? Stuff that the people don't really need. Let me show you all the next clip. Let me show you the next clip quickly. Because I don't want you all to believe that we just talking. Hold on. Look at this here. Look. These are items said to be supplied by Butas company to the police mess. That's what is alleged. Items supplied, large quantities, canned beef, 200 and something cases of canned beef, salt, 100 and something, 110 kilo bag of salt, toilet paper, hundreds of bales of toilet paper. Well, that's the only item I can understand and justify. I can justify the supply of hundreds of bales of toilet paper because since the sanction of the Mohammeds and the PS and that the gun pointing towards police officers, a lot of shitting taking place. So I could understand them wanting a lot of toilet paper. Look at it there. Bag of 100 and something already. Bags of salt. And they say each bag is 100 and something pounds or kilogram, something like that. Supplying. So he just supply these things and collect money, hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars in items are supplied to the police consumers, the police quartermaster store. Some time ago, we learned that $300 million fraud at the police quartermaster store. We understand items are requisitioned for, a fraction of the items are supplied, and a whole set of money is charged. A conflict because the man in charge of admin of the police force is the man in charge of the finance and all of this everything. Quartermaster store, finance. So therefore, he got a company, his company supplying these things, and therefore he approving payment to his own company. And Jack Dio and them the start about conflict of interest and all them crap that has come and let's talk about. So we're gonna keep it on the forefront. We're gonna keep it on the forefront. And let me pause to tell you, continue to share the live. Give me some thumbs up there, give me some thumbs up. We see the numbers are mounting all the time. I know I'm encouraged now when we look at the numbers. When we look at the numbers, it gives you encouragement. It motivates you to continue to come here on Mondays and Wednesdays and any other day and to bring you the information. Let me ask Mr. Kanu if you want to say anything more about this, and then we're going to move on to the next subject. See anything more on this corruption investigation?
This thing is so massive, you know. And when you add up the figures, is we talking over $1 billion plus the amount of agency it involved in this thing, you know, it's massive. That's what we're saying. So who can't deal with it? You got to get overseas people to deal with it. But then it got to be on our front burner all the time, Paul. It got to be on the front burner.
It ain't going nowhere. We got to keep talking about it. You know, time. Let me. I'm going to this one that we want to talk about. Police in the news all the time for the wrong reasons. Police in the news for the wrong reasons. Only last week now, we're hearing of this murder of the attorney. The murder of the attorney. And they said, let me tell you how it's reported. In that slow, sir. They said this attorney and the police sergeant, right? The attorney and the police sergeant, well, let me get your name, man. Let me get your name. The police sergeant were living at the same house, right? And don't let me say live home. They live at the same house. And according to the release or the police said, the sergeant said that they met some 4 years ago at Marriott, and the attorney invited the sergeant to go home and live at E. Right? That's what they said. So they live in the same house. I don't know if they sleep in the same bed. I don't know what goes on in the house, but they said that the sergeant during questioning said, yeah, they live there, but the relationship wasn't an intimate relationship. Sergeant Sumner or Sergeant Sulcar. They said the relationship wasn't an intimate relationship, so they lived there. But here, what is the story? And I'm going to start by saying Marie, because that is what it sounds like, a Nancy story. The story is that the lawyer and some cousin were there, and the lawyer, they're there at the property in, I think it's Century Palm Gardens, somewhere there. And the lawyer suddenly had the urge for Starbucks coffee. So they left the cousin's car to go to Starbucks. They went, they bought the coffee, and they returned to the residence. They spent some time there, and then the cousin said that he left to go home. He ensured that the gate was locked, the house was locked, because he says automatic lock. He ensured that it was locked. He left and he went away. The sergeant is saying, he said when they left, the sergeant is sleeping. The sergeant is saying that he woke up to use the washroom. And after using the washroom, he went into the kitchen and he looked through the window and he saw the attorney in his car, a Jaguar, on the bridge, and he was sitting in the driver's seat, slumped over the steering wheel. All right? Story song fairly reasonable up to then. But the sergeant saying that he went out to the car and he saw this man slumped in the car. He attempted to open the doors. All the doors were locked. Big problem right away. The man there in the car, all the doors are locked. So, and he slumped, appeared motionless. Now, hear the Nancy story. The sergeant said that he then called the man's mother on the phone. She lives some distance away. He called her on the phone. She arrived sometime after at this place. When she arrived, she too attempted to open the door and couldn't open the door. At this stage, the mother, told him to break the window. He went and he got a hammer and he broke the glass and he opened the door. They found the man either dead or bleeding on the thing. Nancy's story. So here what happened? And this is the policing part. So all right. Police got to do the investigation because they call the police turn up to do the investigation. The first thing that you go there, so you would have had the mother, you would have had the sergeant, you have the car and the deceased body. That becomes a crime scene. You have to implement the protocols to deal with crime scene, lock off the area so that the technicians can come and look for evidence. Apparently, they did not do that. Now, the other part, the sergeant is giving the story. And the judge's rule, I'm going to ask Mr. Conway to go through that for you. Clear, all right. He might not have been a suspect at that stage, so you're questioning him. But you want to tell me from the time he told you that he went down to this car, he saw this man slump. He attempted to open the door, did not get to open the door. And he called the man's mother on the telephone and waited until the mother come and instructed him to break the door to open the car. You don't suspect that this man might have had something to do with the murder? That did not give rise to suspicion that, hey, this man, at which stage, according to the judge's rule, at which stage he should have been cautioned. Caution. You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, and whatever you say will be taken out in writing and maybe given evidence against you. Standard caution. Because once he related that story to any of decent detective, you ought to have become suspicious right away. It aroused your suspicion. You ought to have reasonable cause to suspect that he was involved in this murder. But no, they didn't do that. They did not do that. They had the man gave them a long Jim Cock Ram Goat story, and then when they're done, the man was sent away. He wasn't kept in custody. The Sergeant Solkar, I think is his name, was sent away. And of course, he ingested a poison. It is alleged that he ingested a poisonous substance. It is alleged, I say, he ingested a poisonous substance and he later succumbed. Poor police work. Poor policing work. I don't care what they say. And you have a crime chief who is an attorney at law. You have a man who is in charge of the major crime unit, perhaps because he's involved in major crimes. Maybe. And they don't know. And I tell you all already, they got some 6 weeks. Only a couple of weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, the crime chief said that they have 50-something new detectives, not 8 to the CID detectives. They completed a 6-week CID induction course, and they are now detectives. What if any one of them had anything to do with the investigation of this matter? It is poor policing work, very poor police work. 1, the crime scene. 2, this man come and tell you this incredible story. This incredible story this man tell you, and you won't believe that this man is involved, so that immediately you can caution him and keep him in custody. No, they didn't do that. I understand that one of the reasons why he may not have been kept in custody, apart from the ineptitude of the police, is the fact that the man has a relationship. I understand some senior or some former senior politician is his stepfather. That is what they say. That is what they're saying. Our buyer is just selling them. That is what they're saying. But at the end of the day, it is poor police work. You twist it and turn it how you want to turn it. It is poor police work. Poor. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Because I got it worked up. See, this murder of this attorney, this young attorney, and the story that was related by the sergeant, who they claim later on is the suspect. But before, let me say this. When this thing happened, and I saw the release, some people reached out to me. including a very good friend of mine. And I said, based on what he said, I believe that the sergeant and the cousin are the prime suspects. So right away, I said, I believe they are the prime suspects. When the story developed forward, I said, I believe the sergeant is the main suspect in this matter. Now, I was called a day. That's the day, I think, a couple of days ago. I can't remember the exact date. And you know what the man told me? The man said, Chief, your crystal ball working. So I said, what, is the sergeant now? He said, yes, is the sergeant killing the man. He said, yes. They saw videos and all of this thing and put the sergeant on the scene. So his whole story was a concocted story. And you get them stupid, judge, potato police did not see that to deal with the matter properly. Go ahead, my brother, go ahead.
Okay, when I read the police release, just like you, I saw two prime suspects, the sergeant and the cousin. And then when I heard that the guy drank poison, I said, wait, I said, hold on. Another one, I said, they ain't following this police station number 73, care and custody of prisoners. And then I reminisce, I let them, some man, they said they put in the lockers with the bear underwear, and then he strip it up and hang himself in underwear. And then a couple days afterward, 151 police station that hang himself in the jersey. So I say, you know, this man would drink poison at CID headquarters or a breakdown police station lockups. I thought that was the story. But then when you start check out and do investigation, we realize that it wasn't so. That the man wasn't in police custody. And the evidence that they got that was available to them, and they get them cast to suspect that person had committed an offense, and there's time for him to be cautioned and arrested. He should have been in custody, and not only that too, at the crime scene. The crime scene, they should have locked down the crime scene and look for forensic evidence. That should be totally locked down and look for forensic evidence. There is it, and so much a question you ask that he peeped through some window in the kitchen. I wonder if they're taking him back to the kitchen and say, show me which window you're thing, and from the window could you see any car? And then again to perhaps the vehicle was highly tinted. So perhaps he must have extra lens, could see the man slumping. So much of things that that would cause you to reasonably suspect that he was involved in the death of the lawyer. And then you look at it, crime scene, the first responder. What do you do? The first responder, but as we said, we get 6 weeks detectives now, for us, maybe one of them went there. You lock the crime scene as far as reasonably possible. You lock off a crime scene and you look for forensic evidence. You're looking for confession, forensic things that will tie down the person with the crime. And I think I said it before, and I'm going to think it for those who are listening, those young policemen, that I used to teach to the recruits. There's something called preliminary when you're approaching a crime scene. PRELIMINARY. And let them pick up the pens. I pause a moment for they get pens already. P. Proceed to scene and arrest suspect. Render aid to injured. Effect arrest. Locate witnesses. There's L. I. Interview complainant and witnesses. M. Maintain crime scene and protect evidence. I. Inform other police officers. N. Note all conditions, events, and remarks. A. Arrange for searching scene and collecting evidence. R. Report incidents and while yield to responsibility. This is why I used to drill in the heads of all the police, not only detectives, because most times, sometimes when a crime took place, is the first responder. Sometimes ordinary police, a patrolman, a patrolman or some other but inexperienced person would go there. But if you look at preliminary, the things that you can do at the scene of the accident, at the crime, it would able to for you to solve the crime. And then you gotta look at theory of exchange. It said the perpetrator will take away traces of the victim at the scene. The victim will retain traces of the perpetrator and may leave traces of himself or herself on the perpetrator. The perpetrator will leave behind traces of himself or herself at the scene. At the scene there, you need to process the scene there. Did they have blood spatters? Did they look for a knife? Did they look for any kind of instrument? And also in terms of collecting physical evidence, part of it is that most important, it must be obtained legally. And if you don't obtain it legally, the people going to say that that they're going to press for because they said this was the forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree, and I'm going to suppress it. So you say, must be obtained legally, collect and preserve it properly, maintain proper chain of custody. Everybody and handling this this evidence that you got, conduct proper tests with proper personnel that they need to do tests and this kind of thing. But what they do, they just left the scene like that. Left the scene just like that. And remember, you investigating a murder, the death of a human being, and you have to treat it seriously. Seriously, you have to treat it seriously, which they're not doing, or which they didn't do. I did a program with the FBI, managing death investigation. I had to rush back to my book. I think I got a book about 900 and something pages. Managing death investigation, where we look at suicide, we look at accident, we look at homicide, we look at death by natural causes and undetermined. And here's what they preach to us. I always remember the statement by Arthur Westweaver, and it's dedicated to the homicide investigator. And let me read it. No greater honor will be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty imposed on him than when he's entrusted with the investigation of the death of a human being. And here it is. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting the facts to the court without for a court and the facts to the court without prejudice. I go over. No greater honor will be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty imposed on him than when he's entrusted with the investigation of the death of a human being. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting the facts to the court. Now, the thing is that they didn't take that crime scene seriously, and they didn't take the murder seriously. And here is it. You had a prime suspect, and with all the information I got, because I understand they did some canvassing, and they found that apart from what he's saying wasn't true, because they found evidence that he and the liar's car was seen somewhere on Sheriff Street and at other places at the time when they say the man had died. So they had evidence. They had a reasonable suspicion to hold that man in custody, to keep him in custody. And they're not people sit on no bench. That was no sit on the bench. He should have been in the lockups waiting to be properly interrogated, as the case may be. But no, if I had to pull him in, keep him for the tours, talk to him on Thursday, send him, say, come back Friday. Like he went back on Friday, and then he disappeared, and then the next thing you hear that he ingested poisonous substance. So the whole investigation, if they had in at all, it was corrupt, wasn't properly done. And maybe they must get some junior person really to look at it. Here is it. Facts staring in your face. Paul used to say, the commission used to say, facts are stubborn things, and they take no real kind of action, no real kind of action, no forensic evidence. They got a person who went, I think, for 6 years in Russia, did forensic science, qualifies for forensic investigator, and she there looking at training, locked away in a room there, when she should have been in the CID headquarters or somewhere, or the forensic building that they get on there. So they're not doing the forensic evidence. They're looking for confession. Beat a man, you get confession, and then when the confession is thrown out in the court, out goes the case. So they make a whole what we call a mockery of the investigation. And I can't get investigation because they ain't do no kind of investigation. The first thing I repeated myself, lock down the scene. Lock down the scene. Look for forensic evidence. Look for other things. But they didn't do that. So we end up, the liar died and the police sergeant. And if sergeant, six years service, 6 years service, he had to be a superman, a super sergeant. One sergeant, he had connections with our people. Therefore, he could have been promoted to the rank of sergeant. And he's a construction man, not no investigator.
Yeah, he's a construction man, we understand. He constructed near the construction section. Well, let me say this, and this is for all of them, especially the young police and the commanders, because as Mr. Conway pointed out, oftentimes the first person to go to a crime scene is not the investigators, the detectives. It's the people who are on patrol. They get a call, respond to a particular report. You get to the scene, it's a murder scene. Those people on patrols have to be taught how to secure a crime scene. It's not the detectives who come in later to process the crime scene. It's the ones who are going to respond. They have to be taught so that they make sure that they do not contaminate the scene or they do not allow others to contaminate the scene. This should be elementary training. So crime scene is not only for the detectives who are going to go there to investigate, and the technical people, the technicians who are going to process the scene, the duty man, the patrol man, they have to understand when you get to a crime scene how to protect. If you get a vehicle, you get your tape and so on to tape off the scene, and even you not going to it. You are not going there because you're likely to contaminate the scene. So after that preliminary, that initial approach, and you recognize, hey, this man appears to be dead, the man dead on there, if somebody obviously dead, lock off, put up your tape, and secure the scene. Very, very important. Now, CC made the next point that the sergeant, little bit service, 6 years, and 6 or something like that, the people are saying, and he's a sergeant because of his close relationship with a certain controversial man, a certain controversial assistant commissioner. They say he had a very close relationship. And somebody told me on Friday that Carm, they reminded me that Carm is a bitch because they said the same deceased sergeant stationed at the construction section talked name with the same assistant commissioner man. And the man made the officer who was in charge his life a living hell. So much so, and then the transferee from construction. You know, once you want to get involved in the runnings, you get transferred. And the man get frustrated, the man left the job. I think he was either assistant superintendent or deputy superintendent, left the work. Right? So you got to check out that. You have to check out how this man, you see when you do these investigations, it's not only about the actual crime, but you got to go a little further back. How did this man become a sergeant in a relatively short space of time? And I know the older police going to say, well, you shouldn't talk because I was a sergeant, 3 years service at age 21, I was a sergeant. But let me say this, and people who know me, I was outstanding in my field as a drill instructor, as a firearm instructor. I had no match. I was outstanding. So by the age of 21, I was a sergeant. And that could have been easily justified. But you got a man working at the carpenter section of the police force. Why he building a house in one day? He's a man who could build a house in a week or something like that, make you see that he gets sergeant so quick. But they say it's because of the close relationship with a certain man. I remember the story, this nepotism and friendship thing. Remember that Brutus, I call it the name because it's a fact, his sister-in-law, who is stationed at the immigration department. In 2 years, in less than 2 years, she's a corporal. And ranks who are there for donkey years, long. She's not Lance Corporal, you know. She's a corporal, the sister-in-law of Calvin Brutus. His wife's sister is a corporal at the immigration department. Corporal at the immigration department. So when you hear this sergeant who has a certain propensity is a sergeant within a short space of time, it leaves you to wonder. It leaves you to wonder. And I'm reminded about Archie Ross, you know. God rest the dead. I know you get children, they walk 5, 8, 8, 7 Ross. People like Como and them boys who on this program now got no Archie. Archie said that thing and get wrong. And when he said that thing, you know what he talking about? He said that thing and get wrong. He said if you do it as a constable, you turn corporal, you can still do it. You turn sergeant, you can still do it. And he said when you turn officer, you will detail persons to do it to you. You know the thing. All of you know the thing. That's what Archie Ross said. So all of these things, and people are complaining about the nepotism, about the favoritism. If you don't go talk name, if you don't do certain things, if you don't give it up, whatever that means, if you don't give it up, you can't be promoted. That is what they're saying. And then the question too is having regards to the outcome. Well, I shouldn't say outcome because I hope they haven't closed this investigation. I hope they haven't closed it because you get the cousin. You have to perhaps find out motive for the killing because these two men are living together. The deceased sergeant said they weren't intimate, but they're living together for over 4 years in the same house. And all of a sudden, the sergeant decided he can kill this armor. What moved him to do that? What caused him to do that? Because remember, according to what the police telling me, the sergeant said to them that he met this lawyer at Marriott Hotel. And having, I guess they had a conversation, and the lawyer invited the sergeant to go live at his residence. I was tempted to say go live with him, but not go live with him. Go live at the same house. Different meaning. Go there and live in the same house. And he went there and he lived there for like about 4 years, according to what the police are saying. And then he decided to kill this man. What caused him to do that? You got to investigate all of that. Are there other people involved? Are there others involved? All of that you need to investigate. All of that should be properly investigated. And then having regards to what transpired, we relate to you what transpired. People taking statement from this man saying all of these things. What happened to the people who were taking the statement and did not at some stage deem the sergeant to be a suspect and therefore caution him and have him arrested? Are they going to be disciplined? Are they going to be disciplined? You see, that is the issue you have. When you talk about it, they send out the Sidewinders and the Volkswagens to tell you all sort of things. But these are facts. You have to face up to these things. Because if you don't take action, it's going to happen again. It has been happening too frequently over the years. The past 4 years, the past 2 years in particular, since you have the extended squatter there. We have had so many missteps by the police. And again, I want to say, many times you can't blame the police. They are not trained. They are not properly trained. And the fish rots from the head. You get it. And you know, I have said it on this program before. I'm going to say it again. Part of the big problem in the police force, you have too many senior officers who are not policemen. They're wearing police uniform, but they're not police. They don't know the rudiments of policing. And that is a problem. So they can't give directions. They can't read a statement or read a report and detect right away that something is wrong. They have to send them to the DPP. They have to send them to Mandel Moore, the police legal advisor, who in many cases themselves and know what's going on. They too are sailors. A lot of people working in the transport department, they're sailing. And that is what you have. That is why you're going to have this problem. That is why you're going to have problems like these. Right? But I say to them again, having regards to how this matter has unfolded, are you not going to seek to discipline the people who decided to get this man out? Maybe not, because maybe instruction came from higher up to let him go. So you can't discipline nobody. You cannot discipline anyone. And that is the issue. That is only part. This is a microcosm of what is going on in the police force. Incompetence. And again, I want to emphasize, you have lots of ranks who are competent, who are honest, who are hardworking, who are dedicated. Lots of police ranks. And I compliment them in these trying conditions. But when you have people above you who are not competent, and even when you, the ones below, tell them or suggest to them the correct thing, they use what I used to call the power continuum. Oh, don't tell me. I know. And that is part of the problem that you have. That is part of the problem. You have people sit there in their blissful ignorance, and they don't want to hear no other view, even though the other view might be the correct view. They don't want to hear it. It's either my way or the I way. That is what is going on. And the force cannot get better once those persons are around. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to have his say on this, and then we're going to move on to the next subject. CC.
Yeah, for the sake of learning, training, and for those persons who are going to be first responders at crime scene, I want to go over back preliminary. PRELIMINARY. P, proceed to scene and assess situation. R, render aid to injured. E, effect arrest. L, locate witnesses. I, interview complainant and witnesses. M, maintain crime scene and protect evidence. I, inform other police officers. N, note all conditions, events, and remarks. A, arrange for searching scenes and collecting evidence. R, report incident. And Y, yield responsibility. That you shouldn't get anybody tampering with the crime scene. Remember the Marja fire where those 20 persons, children got killed? A couple days afterward, the minister and a whole government team there trampling upon the scene, kicking bits and pieces of evidence about the place. We spoke about it, but perhaps they're not that instilling thing in the people. And you need to lock down the scene. And if a man ain't supposed to go down there, he shouldn't go. He shouldn't go. And my training is, they told us if a some senior officer might want to rush to the scene, and you tell her, sorry, you can't come there, and then say, sorry, if you want to come, I have to take your fingerprint because you have to go through a process of elimination, and you want the fingerprint taken, them kind of thing. That you got to find ways and means to prevent people who isn't concerned with the investigation to be there, and to prevent people from trampling the crime scene, destroying value evidence. And apart from that, they need to look for forensic, a knife, a shot button, a piece of hair, a piece of fiber, or something you'd find at the scene there. Look at your exchange, process the scene properly, and you will get results.
Yeah, you process the scene properly, you'll get results. And the important point, policemen in particular, once the scene is there, nobody, even the president, the prime minister, the commissioner, nobody, only the technicians who got to process the scene should get there. Nobody can come in to say, look, I need to go and see. No, sir, you cannot go into the crime scene. You're going to tamper, you're going to contaminate the crime scene. No one is allowed to go there. No commander, no deputy commander, no crime chief can walk into the scene just like that. It does not work that way if you want to make sure that you are solving crimes, especially these serious crimes. You have to do that. And this is thing got to be drilled into people. They have to change the culture. You have to change the culture. The patrol response is a crime scene. Patrol have to have people who are competent and trained to lock off the scene. To lock off the scene until such time that the investigators come. You have to do that. Now let me move on. I saw what I considered a very disturbing post. It was on Saturday from Honorable Sarabo Ali, MP. And let me read the post to you, and then we're going to deal with it again. Imagine hearing a man beat on a woman profusely. Imagine hearing her screaming, hoping that someone can help her out of her situation. Imagine calling East the Penitence Police Station to be told that you have to call 911. Imagine calling 911 and the phone doesn't even ring. Imagine you remember hearing the Minister of Human Services talk about 914, and so you call them. Imagine them saying they will call the police. Imagine calling 914 back to air. They have called Brigdam, but Brigdam has no patrol, but they will try to come. Imagine hearing those screams for over half an hour, helpless, because you know no help is coming. Last night was traumatic for me, but I cannot pretend to imagine how the young lady felt screaming loud enough for the entire neighborhood to hear, but nobody comes to our rescue. Domestic violence is real. May we get to the place where serious systems are put in place to deal with the underlying causes of this crisis in our society. Domestic violence. This is a story where, according to the thing, some domestic violence, woman got in lecture screaming. Neighbor call 911. Now call East Pennington's police station. That is the allegation. East Pennington police station say call 911. You call 911, right? And 911, imagine calling 911 and the phone doesn't even ring. Then ring. Then you remember you could call 914. You call 914, which is another emergency. I guess there's one for domestic violence or whatever. And then they tell you got to call Brigdam. Imagine that. Imagine that. And they talk about response to crime, and they get workshops, they get seminars talking about how to deal with domestic violence. These are the type of things, but nothing is going to happen, Nothing is going to happen to the person. No investigation, no proper investigation will be done to find out, tie down a time. Who were the people working at that time? When a call was made to East Pennington's police station about a domestic violence, I said, oh, you got to call 911. Wrong police action. Wrong police action. And they talk about, oh, we get so many vehicles, and the president said, no, it's not boots on the ground. But let me tell you what that happened. And I know that the commanders listen. If not on the live, they listen later. You as a commander, you have an emergency system. You have got to put systems in place to check it. And I could tell you, and I'm praising myself and singing with you, but in fact, when I became when I went to operations, we had a review. It had started before I got to operations. But we had a review of the country's 911 system. And then you discover that when you call 911, from whatever part of the country you call 911, it rang in Georgetown. So if you are at Madja, if you are at Letem, you are in the quarantine, you dial 911, which is the emergency number. There was no local arrangement. It rang to Georgetown. All 911 calls, I think it was Brigdam, rang at Brigdam, Georgetown. And we said that can't work. I remember we had a meeting with the private sector at police headquarters. Jerry Govaya was something to do with the private sector at the time. They came to complain about the system. And when we explained the system to them, they couldn't believe. They couldn't believe, and they promised that they were going to address, and we did address the system so that the 911 will ring at the particular area. Right? And then what happened? The 911 started to ring in the various, what they call it, in the telephone, the exchanges. So New Amsterdam will ring at New Amsterdam and based on the exchange. Because at that time, I think it was 333 ring at the particular place, BV 220 ring at BV police. You had that. So they had to work to get that sorted out. We had to work to get that sorted out. And then the next thing we discovered, that the 911 was one or two numbers. They never had what they say until numbers. So you get 5 or 6 dedicated numbers. And when you call 911, it goes to whichever one is available and ring. They did not have that. And that was corrected. That was corrected. With the aid of the British, that thing was corrected. And then, when I was commander A Division, I used to personally check on the 911 system. Let me tell you a story. I ain't gonna call the officer name because the female officer is still in the force. I don't want to embarrass her because you did something wrong, she might have changed. But let me tell you what happened. I am there as a commander, and every now and again you get a little time, whenever you get a little time, and you remember, I will call 911 just to make sure that it is working. This particular day, I call 911 and you get engaged tone. You know what is the engaged tone? The line, pop, 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 it engaged all the time. But for over about an hour, I call it intermittently, and the line kept giving engaged tone. I said, no, something wrong. King, can't remember his first name. The older police remember. Remember King used to be, I think he was a driver at Presidential Guard, Then he went to transport workshop, slim, tall, red guy. And then he went to, he came to Brickdam and he was put in charge of the operations room. When I looked through my window, I saw King in the compound and I yelled out to him. Somebody said, no song. Are you hearing me? Somebody has said, Ridley said, no song, but I believe it's your system, you know. The angel check your system because I ain't getting that response from nobody else. Right? So, yeah, I'm telling you, I looked through the compound and I saw King. That's how I say, Alvin King. And he was in charge of the operations room. And I said, hold on there, King, hold on. And he waited. And I went with him. I said, come, let me go up into the operations room. And the two of us walked into the operations room. And when I opened the door, this I don't remember the person rank at the time, maybe corporal or so, saw red and they putting the phone back on the cradle. In other words, they're taking the phone, the 911 phone, off the cradle. I guess it was ringing regularly. She took it out of the cradle. And of course, those of you who know me know I exploded and I had her immediately. I removed her from there. Immediately, I removed her and disciplined her for that. Right? But you have to check these things. You have to check. But this is somebody calling for help. Neighbor here, this woman bawling, back till she blows, bawling for the intervention of the police. And this is the runaround you get. Call Easter Penitence. Easter Penitence, you got to call 911. You call 911, 911 ring out. You call 914 to tell you got to call Brickdam. That's the runaround where somebody's life can be in danger. Somebody's life in danger. And that is the response the police get. And then they tell you all sorts of crap about you demoralizing. You're telling them that issues that are there for them to address. They must address these issues. Let me ring in Mr. Conway. This thing was so upsetting when I read it. CC, I'm sure you would have heard or you would have read. What are your comments, my brother?
I read it, you know. Well, let me get back to you with this 911 story. I remember when I was holding Brickdam there for Larry George, who was on, I think, 42 days leave, and then you subsequently took over from me. I used to test out the 911 system, you know. If I want to find out anything, I used to call 911 to see whether it's worked. Sometimes it wasn't working. And I remember Sunday afternoon, I called 911. And the guy answered at the first ring. Why you don't call your effing mother? And he called out the word thing, you know. I said, commando. Say, sorry, you know, because a little boy calling me every time and cussing me up. And I thought it was one of them. Well, I got him to move immediately. I disciplined him, and I think but 2 weeks afterward, he submitted his resignation. But the thing is that sometimes the system don't work. But then you got to be checking on it. And I used to check. Always I was commander, I always used to check the 911 to make sure that it is working. And I remember the British did a lot of training to, I don't know if some of the people that are there, I think Marshall and all those people who left the work, that you need to check the system regularly, especially the 911. It's a means of assisting you to solve crime. But if you don't check the system, sometimes the system is down. Sometimes, as I say, people hang up and just left it just so they want to answer calls and things. So, but not only you, the commander, others, the supervisors, have got to get in the habit of checking the 911 system. But I could imagine what the woman was going through, crying for help, people calling all about the place, and then no response. And they say we get a whole set of police vehicles about the place, you know, and they're getting donation of vehicle in this oil-rich economy, you know. But sometimes they get vehicles, but it's how they utilize them, you know. Sometimes if the vehicle gone to people farm at Dora, or if the vehicle gone to somebody's sandpit somewhere about the place, you know. So they can be effective.
Yeah, but I hope that when matters like this are brought to the attention, that they investigate to take corrective action. And that is part of the problem. A matter like this is reported, and no investigation will be done to find out who are the people involved to make sure that corrective action is taken. So therefore, people continue with that type of unprofessional behavior. That is what goes on. That is what goes on. And let me come to the next subject here. This might take us to the end. I saw in the news sometime during last week, the president, Irfan Ali, went on a walkabout early morning at Border Market. He went there early. I know if he went to buy catfish, I know where he went to buy, but they say he went early and he interacted with the people. And the people complained about maybe crime in the area and other stuff. And true to form, everything now is blamed on the mayor and city council. And then I should not have been surprised. The president then instructed that a police outpost was be established at Border Market. And I understand during the course of the day, the whole hierarchy of the police force has been done by Border Market. And then the next thing you know, an outpost is established at Border Market without any proper assessment of the needs of the thing. I said, my Lord, what have we become? What has the police force become? What assessment would have been done? President is president, president talking politician. You are law enforcement officers, senior law enforcement officers. Did you do an assessment to determine what is the problem and how best you should treat this problem? Outpost. And let me say to you, I'm on record to tell, even when I was in the force, that outposts are, especially in recent times, a political thing. They are not very effective. For an outpost to be effective, it has to be properly manned. You have to have a certain number of policemen. There's an outpost right now in front of Stabrook Market. How effective is that outpost? Only recently, Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson, talked about crimes in the area. And he made a statement that unless you look like me, you can get grabbed or even killed. Some stupid statement like that. But when you say Robeson and stupid statement, it is redundant because once Robeson makes a statement, oftentimes it is a stupid statement. But he says, if you don't look like me, you can be robbed or even killed. How effective is that outpost there? You have an outpost outside police headquarters on the seawall. Not so long ago, they put it there. How effective is that outpost in solving crime and making sure, give confidence to people? You recall only 2 weeks ago, a man wanted for murder was arrested in the vicinity of that outpost at the seawall. And the police sergeant, they say, who arrested him, asked him to put him in his own car. This is a man arrested for murder, put in his own car and asked to drive to Rhineville police station. When the man drove there, the man do his own thing. They chased the man, jumped on much fence. They end up shooting the man in the buttocks. You didn't hear anything forward about that. So how effective is that outpost? One would have thought the outpost is there. A man is arrested for murder. He's going to be taken to the outpost, and some patrol don't come, mobile patrol, and pick him up and take him to whichever station. There's an outpost too by Fogarty's there, Guyana stores, at that roundabout, Monishwar area. How effective is that outpost? You're putting down these outposts and you don't do an assessment to see how effective they are. So now you jump and you put an outpost at Border Market because the president says so. President who has no training in law enforcement, who has no training in policing, he said outpost. And nobody can say that, look, this is not what is required, this is what we're going to do. Because I am telling you from experience as a police officer and from visiting that area, what is required is not no outpost. You need to have foot patrols and perhaps even bicycle patrols. Foot patrols, bicycle patrols in that area, in the market, the Border Market itself, in the green area, along North Road, in Rob Street, in Orange Walk, Border, Regent Street. You need to have foot patrols, visible patrols, to give confidence to the shoppers in the area and to deter criminal elements. But when you get an outpost, people are going to go there. They're going to sit. First of all, for an outpost in that area to be effective, you have to have staff into at least, let me say, about 8 ranks. Somebody in charge, maybe 1 or 2 to take reports and in the outpost all the time. And you have to have people patrolling on their foot to walk around the place. That is how you're going to be effective. Not to have an outpost and people sit down in the outpost. You have to have ranks walking on the beat, in the market, in the green, all of these areas. That is what you have. And then you have, I know, there is already an outpost in Regent Street. I think there's Regent and Border Street. In Regent Street itself, there's a city constabulary outpost right there. What is the position with that outpost? But you know, it's politics, and the president wants to tell people that he established an outpost, and he blaming the mayor and city council for not doing their job, and all sort of nonsense going on. All sort of, you know, this reminds me, and I got to relate these experiences, you know, how you deal with matters like that. When I was Commander A Division many years ago, I left A Division at the end of 2007. I was commander there from 2004, I think it was, until 2007 when I went to headquarters to operations. There was a Guy Expo at the Sapphire Exhibition Center. Mani Ram Prasad was wherever he was, whatever ministry he was at the time. Jagdio was president, and they had the opening of the Guy Expo, and the thing was poorly organized by the organizers. The sale of tickets and so on, poorly organized. So you had a lot of confusion there that opening night. Thousands and thousands of people lined up to get tickets, and you had about 2 wickets, 2 holes they're operating from. The next day, the president was either leaving or coming back into the country. I think he was leaving. So the commander, the protocol, when the president leaves or returns, the commander goes to the airport, commissioner, and these people go there because he was leaving. I got to guess he was leaving because the prime minister will be sworn in right at the airport to act as president and so on. And I went there, and the issue came up with the president, Mani Ram Prasad. I remember Eddie Collins, chief of staff, was there, Henry Green, commissioner of police, and they were talking about the confusion the night, and then somebody decide, Mani Ram Prasad or somebody decide that we need to have more policemen there for the other nights. So I asked them to do what? More police to do what? I said the problem that we experienced there wasn't a policing problem. It was not a policing problem. I know, as I said, I want to double bank with the president and Mani Ram Prasad and Henry Green joined with them. And Henry Green said, oh, he's going to send some additional police from training school. I said, I don't need more police because it is not a policing problem. The problem is that they have to do better at selling the tickets. First of all, they have to pre-sell tickets. And secondly, they have to have more areas, more wickets, more people selling tickets. You can't have thousands and thousands of people come and you have 2 persons selling tickets. Then a man will come up to the wicket and find out how much is the price. And then you tell him, say, well, this is the price. Then he got in the wallet, he take out the money. I said the problem is not a policing problem. The thing is poorly managed, right? And they're telling me, I said, look, I don't need more police. And I insisted until Eddie Collins came to my rescue. Eddie Collins said, well, if the commander is saying that you don't need any police, why y'all insisting? This is the President Jagdio and Mani Ram Prasad and Green. And then they said, well, all right. I said, what we need? I said, what we need? I said, what y'all need to do is to make sure that tickets are pre-sold. So if you're going to open at, let me say, 4, you start maybe since midday. So people in the area, people can come and buy the ticket. Have places where tickets can be sold. And I said, when you come there now on the venue itself, you have to have lots of wickets. 6, 7 people selling tickets so people can come and the thing can move on. And they reluctantly agreed. And you know, thereafter, you hadn't a single build-up of crowd. Again, you have to make an assessment. The people come and tell you, oh, you want an outpost. To do what? What do you want an outpost at Border Market to do? The outpost in itself can address issues of crime and confidence in and shoppers and vendors. No, that in itself is not going to work. You put an outpost, you have to make sure that it is properly staffed. And if you are complaining that you have problem with numbers, it means that you're taking people now who they're at other station because the Border Market comes under Albertown. So you're going to take maybe 2 from Albertown, 2 from somewhere. So you are going to be deleting or denuding the staff from those stations already short to put at Border Market outpost. You tell me if that makes sense. Tell me if that makes any sense. But that is what we have. We have the dog, the tail wagging the dog. So the president jumped up and said, outpost. And within a day or 2, you put outpost. It ain't going to work. It is not going to work. Because you have to make sure that you have the proper support mechanisms in place. Proper support mechanisms in place. And I say, what you need in the area is proper patrols, foot patrol, bicycle patrol. Well, you know, the president said that it's no longer boots on the ground. So maybe they're going to put some drone or some camera there and so on. That's what's going to happen, right? Because he says so, but all of a sudden now you want outposts. And I suspect if you want outposts, you want beat people working there. So that is part. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man, for talk about this outpost nonsense. What they're talking about. See,
Yeah,
brother.
I read the thing, and for the matter, I saw the outpost there. Because the president went one day, and the next day, by next morning, there's a container. I know it was already prepared what is there. I think it's an orange walk. That's a knee-jerk arrangement. And I always saying boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. The president saying that the safe city, the cameras going to replace boots on the ground. The cameras are after the event. And then when you have the boots to the ground, don't underestimate the presence of police on the ground there, and the relationship they will build with people. They can able to gather quite a lot of intelligence. And as you mentioned, it calls for a whole lot of people to be working at that outpost there. And even the squatter, their extended squatter complaining that he getting difficulty retaining people and recruiting people. So they in a hell of a position. So you're going to take from Alberton, you're going to take from elsewhere. So when people go to Alberton here, we ain't get no police for go anywhere. We ain't get police for go and patrol and kind of. It is I think they did any assessment, but they should have done a proper assessment and see what are the issues and address the issues. But don't go and say bring an opposer, and then the city constabulary get an opposer. But how effective it is, I don't know. Maybe that's what I got to look at. How effective is the city council um, base there? But then if you put in police there, it's put it calls for a lot of manpower, and police they are short of manpower. People left in the work left, right, and center because they are frustrated, because they are not motivated, because some of them don't want people here that they're members of the police force with all the big scandal, all the corruption going on in high places. But I'm not in agreement with just run helter skelter and just put on our post there and bring men there. Yes, you have cameras, but the cameras are after, and even you get cameras also, people must able to monitor them and must able to have contact with those men on the ground, the boots on the ground. And then when you look to those men, no boots on the ground, you gotta monitor them because I watch most of them on the cell phone. They're on the cell phone all the time and not able to look and observe, and hear what's going on and these kind of things. So I don't think it was a wise idea to really just overnight establish an outpost there without doing a real study, a real analysis of the crime situation down there.
Well, that thing not even require any detailed analysis. You got a market, not only that market, La Penitence market, Border market, Stabrook market. You should have patrols during the hours of the market. When inside the market, policemen should be walking in the markets. Outside Stabrook market, which is almost a 24-hour arrangement, you have to have people walking the beat there. And I ain't talking about traffic ranks, general duty ranks. Same thing with Border market, you have to have at least 2 beats from 6 o'clock in the morning until such time the copy was then late. 2 beats there. And when you talk about numbers, you're talking about what? Men walking the beat should not be walking a beat for more than 4 hours. So therefore, you got to do the work. You got to do the maths, which perhaps is a difficult subject for them. But when you put a outpost there, you have to get at least ranks in the outpost. So all they're doing is being in the outpost. Whereas if you did not have the outpost, those same 2 people in the outpost could have been walking on the beat. This thing is so nonsensical. All because they don't understand policing and how you police a community. Walk the beat. They have to be walking the beat. No, you don't see beats. You don't see beats. You have to walk the beat. And talking about beat, it brings me to the next point where long ago, ranks in offices. They talk about shortages. Long ago, ranks in offices at headquarters and elsewhere had to give at least a 4 hour in the evenings walking the beat. So a roster rather is made out, and ranks are then, walk in general office, you walk in finance office, wherever you walk in the office, 4 hours, you go and you walk a beat. That is important, either patrol or beat and patrols, to make sure that you have maximum patrols and beat duty people around. But now I don't think they have that, except for Christmas time. They get Christmas policing and they empty the offices and say, well, you're going for this period. But that should be a year-round thing, not maybe at the same level. But you have to have people from those offices, enough people in the offices doing what? Many of them are redundant. And if you short the police outside, you have to make sure that and that is not an innovative measure, it's something that used to happen back in the day. CC talk about visits. Officers and inspectors from headquarters and elsewhere have to go and visit the people on the beat, visit the stations to make sure that they alert and take disciplinary action where necessary. But you don't have them things now. Officer is 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, whatever you want to call them, gone if they're there at headquarters. Unless the officer perhaps working duty officer break down or someplace else. They don't work in the night. They don't visit ranks and visit stations and all of that. All that is part of the problem. Nobody checks. Nobody checks. Everybody doing their own thing. And I'm saying this to tell them, I know Mr. Ben does get the feedback. Minister Ben, hope that you wake up once again. You'd like to get involved in the operational aspect of the police force. This is what we're talking about, is operational aspect. And since you want to get involved in the operational aspect, maybe you can tell the extended squatter that they should have ranks who are working in offices at headquarters and elsewhere, right, to come out and to assist in patrols and beat. The recruits, once you finish a certain length of time in the training school, you get your uniform, we used to got to come out and do beats. You're so glad because you're there in training school, there you get an opportunity to walk somewhere in Albert Town or somewhere, Seawall, and you're doing some beat. You're happy, you're glad about it. A 2 hour or 4 hour, as the case may be. It has to be re-implemented. It has to be re-implemented if you want to make sure you can get in control. And as Mr. Conway pointed out, it's not only to deter or to arrest criminals, but it's also to give confidence to people who are moving around. You see police walking around looking purposeful. Not them when you see walking around now with the beat. When they establish the Christmas, they sit down in that booth and they're on the cell phone all the time. They can't see nothing that is going on. They're on their cell phone, watching some movie, watching them on Facebook or something. And nobody takes any measures. Even traffic ranks, you see ranks directing traffic, one hand directing the next one, they're up there, they're on a cell phone. And they use all sorts of innovative ways. If you get on a helmet, they stick the cell phone in the helmet and so on. And we, in 2021, did a standing order. The same standing order review committee that I was on with a charge, we said we conspired to commit fraud. We did a standing order to address the use of electronic devices by policemen. We did that when they're on duty. It is there. I remember on Christmas Eve Day 2021, I handed it over to Commissioner James. Commissioner James. I handed it over to Commissioner James. Christmas Eve Day 2021, standing order is there. So if they, again, you're going to put them on the outpost, they're going to sit down in the outpost, they're going to be on the phone, they're on Facebook, watch some movie, maybe watch some pornography, something to pass the time. And how effective is that going to be? How effective? And you know, they're so stubborn that now that we talk about it, they ain't going to change it, you know. They might decide on the beat and say, well, we always have that in mind. It's not slow and Conway, make we put beat. They might decide that. It's not slow and Conway, make we put beat. We always had beats in mind too. But beat in policing, you go to New York, you go to any one of those, even the developing places, with all the modern technology. They get helicopter, they get drone, they get mounted section, they get K9 section, proper K9 section, not them rice eaters that they get there. And you still have policemen walking the beat. You still have policemen walking the beat because that is basic policemen. No matter how advanced the society is, you have to have people, because we remind them, you have drones and you have helicopter. Drones and helicopter can't arrest nobody on the ground. So even if the drones identify and track the persons, you have to have people on the ground to effect the arrest. But these dunderheads that we have can't understand that. And then they're sending out their propagandists to attack slow and to account. But you have to continue to attack. More you attack is the more popular this probe getting. And again, I tell you, share the live and give it the thumbs up. I'll be winding down. Share the lives and give it thumbs up. I compliment you for your turnout this morning. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds are on the live. And if you go and check YouTube or check Facebook, you're gonna see the outstanding numbers that we have, and it is growing every episode. And you continue to attack. People want to hear the truth. People want to hear the truth, and that is what we are bringing to them, the truth. Let me ask CC to give a closing, and then we have so many other things to talk about. Wednesday is just 2 days away, but CC close, and I got some things to talk about. Your closing comments, my brother.
There's a word that isn't in this police vocabulary: sustainability. Just now, they start with this border outpost, and they're going to jump to something before long. And I'm wondering, what did happen with eye in the sky, or whatever they call it, where they talk about drones and all kind of thing. And they say it was restricted to Georgetown, right? And then I hear like that branch off to other. I wonder what really happened with it. So all they're doing is just overnight, they come up with something, and then they're not sustain anything. They just haphazardly doing things, and it can't work that way. And I'm saying that it's not the right thing to really establish an outpost at border. They should disband it.
Well, they're going to do that because Sloan can't we talk about it. They will not do that. They are not going to do that. They are stubborn. They are obstinate. They're not going to do that. Even though any assessment will show that the thing is not effective, but because the president says so. So the extended squatter who wants to continue the extension, and then, but first of all, he no. So he can't put up no proper, credible, logical argument to say why you don't need an outpost there. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. So you're going to get the outpost there, as I've said, a minimum of 2 persons right away you're taking off the beat, because you can't leave the outpost unattended. Well, at least you should not. So you're going to get 2 persons sitting on the outpost who could have otherwise been patrolling to be more effective in the area. And that is the stupidness you got going on. That is the craziness that you have going on. Now, moving on, what I forgot to tell you at the start, when we spoke about the Olympics, I should have reminded you, or I should have told you, that we had a guy by the name of Peterson Griffith, who recently, and he's a powerlifter, I think, a weightlifter, powerlifting. The man broke the world record of Guyanese, right? It was there in June 21st, Kaicho News. Ral Tony wrote about it. The Guyanese Carlos Patterson Griffith set a new squat record, 93 in the 93 kilogram class at the International Powerlifting Federation World's Men Open Classic Championship in Lithuania, right? The man lifted an incredible 337.5 kilograms or 704 pounds, making him the first Guyanese athlete to hold a world record in any sport. A world record in any sport. So, and you know, you hear not much about it in Guyana. So big up and congratulations to Mr. Griffith, right? Congratulations to him. And I was to mention it at the beginning, I almost forgot. So we have a person holding a world record. So it's not only a world record in corruption. We have a world record in powerlifting. Powerlifting. You don't talk about corruption. I have so much to talk about corruption, but time does not permit. And as we said on the last occasion, what we will do, we'll remind some people of some of these incidents that are apparently swept under the carpet, right? Things that are swept under the carpet, we're going to remind some of you. We told you about the GDF helicopter crash. Nothing. The killing of Sergeant Alex Vaughn, that was on the 12th of March this year. Nothing further. DPP give instructions or directions or recommendations, advice for Mark Weir to be charged. That ain't nothing no more. You have the businessman who arrested Walker, Indian Walker from Reedenoop, put a illegal firearm in a woman's bag. Division 4B is a East Bank matter. There, Jackie Opel visited, and nothing more you're hearing about that matter. Ikin's son, the extended squatter, Colin Ikin, shoot off gun in Kitty. They said illegal firearm, arrested by a security guard. Nothing in this animal farm. Let me remind you, too, that they said policemen, people dressed in uniform. No, the police, before I go to that, police caught on camera, beating up, kicking a Linden businessman in the police compound. Some time ago, right? That was, I think, April. And they said some rank was placed under close arrest. You don't hear nothing more about that. You don't hear nothing. Then you get the story of Kanu ranks detained at Letem for kidnapping and extorting a Brazilian businessman. That was in May of this year. Silence is golden. Then you have the case where they said policemen or men in police uniform. Let me put it the correct way. Men in police uniform robbed the man at the bank at GBTI of 10 million Guyana dollars. 10. They said one man was arrested. They never said if the man who was arrested was police or not. So the one man was arrested. You didn't hear anything further. Then they said Chinese national held over smuggling gold. And they said they seized 39 million Guyana dollars. Right? You're not hearing anything more about that. Right? Then they got a matter that I want to remind you all of. When the Dharamlal forced rape allegation, you had two, at least two that we know of. The first rape allegation involving the little indigenous girl, they said $10 million was paid. That is the allegation. It is further said that when the matter started, they recovered from the girl's father $5 million. $5 million cash, because he said he spent out the rest, and the money was taken to Anna Regina police station. Wonder what happened to the money? What if rat eat that money? There's a vicious rat in them police property room and places, Vicious rat, lash out gasoline and all them type of thing. Old 45-gallon drum gasoline, rat that's eat out and all. So I wonder what happened to that matter. And let me show you this one. It was reported in September last year that a travel agency was robbed of $1.6 million on guns and ammunition. These are some of the guns that were stolen from a travel agency in Kitty. David Street, Kitty, travel agency robbed. They cut off a safe containing 6 firearms, a quantity of ammunition, and $1.6 million in cash. I remember them saying that 2 of the suspects were arrested, and we didn't hear nothing about the guns. Look at the guns, a travel agency, AR-type semi-automatic rifles. Travel agency in David Street, Kitty. Robbed of these things were stolen. Right? Because they say agency rob. But you can't rob an agency. As I told you all before, you can't rob a person. Right? You can't rob an agency. Then I'm reminded there too, what happened to the matter with the special branch ranks who fired off 88 rounds behind the sergeant. It went to the DPP. DPP said this is a reaction. Wonder what happened to the matter. Thanks, Reggie, for reminding me. And there are so many other matters. But what are we going to do? I am keeping a list, as you would have noticed, to keep asking what is the position with these matters. Dharamlal again, they complained on the last matter. Cybercrime was reported to, in addition to the rape allegation, cybercrime, nothing. But we are going to keep asking questions. We owe a responsibility to the public to keep asking questions, and I would hope that when these journalists go to Tantimore on Thursday, that they will ask similar questions. Folks, 2 hours gone. Class in session full this morning. Again, I want to compliment you on your turnout in the schoolyard, on the live, right? And close by reminding you that all those who want to have some information, what we call financial literacy, some people have reached out to me and they have thanked me for providing the information which I have and acquired. Reach out. Don't be ashamed. You're not costing you nothing. Just hit me up and I'm going to arrange for you to get some of the knowledge that I have acquired in financial literacy. Folks, it was a good morning. It was a good morning, and we have come to an end. I implore you to stay safe. We have so much more to talk about, but Wednesday is just a day away. We're going to come again 2 days away, and we are going to bring you the additional credible information. Until then, we ask you to stay well, be safe, and we'll see you again, God's willing, on Wednesday for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, bye.